No matter what's happening in the market, it is so important to take control of your finances. So thanks to Advisor.com for supporting TFD. The TFD community loves Advisor.com, so I'm incredibly thrilled to be partnering with them this year. Looking at stock market headlines can feel scary, but stopping or delaying your wealth building journey is not the answer, and that's where Advisor.com comes in. Think of them as your financial accountability partner. We all have that sinking feeling that we're missing out on opportunities with our money, and working with a living, breathing financial advisor has historically been out of reach for those with less than 6 figures to their name, despite the fact that many of life's meaningful financial moments happen way before that kind of net worth. And the good news is that you don't need to be rich to connect with an expert at Advisor.com. Having a professional guide you along your financial journey is essential, and Advisor.com provides clients with a top-notch advising team for a fixed, flat annual fee. Whether you have $0 or $1 million in investments, you pay one rate for the same white glove service. Their team of advisors work for you, not commissions, and help you to achieve your smart financial goals through planning, investing, tax strategizing, and more. So schedule a free consultation call with Advisor.com today at Advisor.com and never make another financial decision alone. Hey guys, it's me, Chelsea from The Financial Diet, and I wanted to hop in really quickly before we get to today's video because, for once, I'm actually not going to be hosting it. For the month of February, we're bringing in 3 different experts to cover a 360 view of how to prepare for a potential recession. This is something that we get asked about more than basically anything else on the channel. Are we in a recession? Are we going to be in a recession? What does that mean? What should I do differently? What should I do the same? How can I prepare? And all of these are totally valid questions, and they don't all have one right or wrong, black or white answer. So we've created our 3-week series, The Recession Roadmap, to navigate exactly how to get through a potential recession. In some ways, a recession means you should do things exactly the same, and in fact that changing your strategy could be detrimental to your finances. In other ways, a recession means you should perhaps prepare differently. And what a recession means to different people totally depends on their individual situation. Do you have a fleshed out emergency fund? Are you in a particularly volatile industry? Do you have multiple sources of income? Are your expenses really high compared to that income? A recession impacts basically every aspect of our financial and professional lives. And so preparing for things like your day-to-day budgeting, your investment strategy, and your career positioning are all crucial to navigating this well. So I've brought in 3 experts, Nika, Emily, and Tara, to talk all about navigating those aspects and more of getting through a potential recession from their respective expertise. We're going to be covering those subjects, budgeting, investing, and career prep, and you can always hop at the link in our descriptions to watch the other ones in the series if you haven't. This is our 3-week deep dive, the Recession Roadmap, and this week we're talking all about budgeting for and potentially through a recession. Anyway, guys, enjoy this series, and I'll see you back on my Tuesday show come March.
Hey friends, it's Nika Booth from Debt Free Gonnabe, and today I'm going to talk to you about that dreaded R word, recession, and moves you can make to help make your finances more recession tolerant. I'm sure by now you've been hearing a lot about whether we will or won't be seeing a recession this year. And the truth is, we don't know. But I'm going to share with you steps that you can take to help lessen the impact of a recession, should we have one. In this video, I'll talk about what a recession is and how it can impact your money, budgeting basics, how to make your budget recession tolerant, and of course I'll talk about savings, but for more than just emergencies, and additional recession prep money moves that you can make. So what's a recession? Experts define a recession as significant decline in economic activity across the economy, and that lasts for more than a few months. What does that have to do with you and your money? During a recession, some people may experience a job loss or a reduction in hours. That decrease in income may drive people to dip into their savings, if they have it, in order to pay bills and for basic living needs. And this can increase the potential of falling behind and going into debt. Also, if the markets are down and you have money invested in the stock market, you could potentially lose some money. Lastly, any financial hardships you were experiencing before a recession could become much worse. There's no way to truly recession-proof your finances, but you can create a roadmap that can make your finances more recession tolerant and give you peace of mind during uncertain financial times. That roadmap is a budget. I know. Budgets get such a bad rap. but they are a roadmap for your money. Having this roadmap for your money can truly help you weather any storm. Budgeting can sound complicated, but it really is as simple as your income in minus your expenses out. It's important to remember that a budget is just a list of bills. Your budget should reflect all of your expenses and goals, like your living expenses and your savings and debt payoff goals, and even any investing and retirement contributions. If you're not sure how much money to allocate for each of your category of expenses, the 50-20-30 rule is a great place to start. It's a commonly used rule of thumb that divides your after-tax take-home pay into 3 categories: needs, wants, and savings, and assigns a percentage to each of those categories. For needs such as your rent or mortgage, gas, groceries, and even pet care, you'll want to allocate 50% of your after-tax take-home pay. For savings such as your emergency fund, retirement contributions, giving, and also your debt payments, you'll want to allocate 20%. And 30% goes to your wants, such as dining out, travel, streaming services, or entertainment like concerts and sporting events. And now it's time to create your roadmap. One of my favorite ways to budget is the zero-based budgeting method. This method involves giving every single one of your dollars a job or a task. For example, let's say you have an after-tax take-home pay of $1,500. Using the zero-based budgeting method, you list all of your expenses that you have to pay out of that $1,500. For every expense, you list the amount of the expense all the way down until you have no money left. Now, if you list all of your expenses and you end up with a negative number, that means you've got more expenses than you have income coming in, and it may mean that you need to make some adjustments like cutting back or completely cutting out an expense or increasing your income. Now, if you find that you have money left over after listing all of your expenses, it means you've got a little bit more wiggle room to work with. And you can allocate some of that leftover money towards your savings or debt payoff goals. But try not to get overwhelmed with all of the budget planners, spreadsheets, and apps that are out there. A budget can be as simple as something you write down on a piece of paper. Now that we've talked about the basics of budgeting, it's time to prepare your budget for uncertain financial times. When facing uncertain financial times, it's important that you're prepared to weather whatever life is going to throw at you. And the only way you can do that is to make sure you're not spending your money in places you don't need to. That's where the bare bones budget comes in. A bare bones budget is exactly how it sounds. It's bare bones. It only includes your necessities and minimum financial obligations, like the minimum payment due on, say, your car loan or your credit card. The purpose of the bare bones budget is simply survival, and it's good to have in case you need it. To create your bare bones budget, grab a pen and paper and list all of your expenses. And to make sure you don't miss anything, be sure to look at your bank and credit card statements. From that list, write out only your necessary expenses like housing and utilities, basic food and hygiene, childcare, pet care, and of course, your minimum debt payments. And lastly, list any wants and non-essential items that could be cut from your budget. Now create your zero-based budget with only the items that you listed as necessary. Any money left over can be used to increase your savings in case you need it. The truth is, a bare bones budget is a good financial tool to have as a backup just in case you need it or anytime you need to buckle down and save money. In addition to a bare bones budget, it may be necessary for you to reduce your expenses to save money. A few examples of common expenses that you can swap to save money are cable for 1 or 2 streaming services, name brand for store brand or generic items, new clothes for thrift store or consignment shop, coffee shop coffee for brewing coffee at home, and of course, dining out for eating more food at home and taking your lunch to work. Whatever the expense, there's usually a less expensive alternative that can save you money. Speaking of saving money, having an emergency fund helps to buffer you against life's unexpected events like a job loss or reduction in pay, a major medical emergency, a major car repair, even unexpected travel. Emergencies aren't the only things you should save for. Setting aside money for expected and planned expenses can help buffer your budget. This type of saving is called a sinking fund, and saving for things we know are going to come up, like birthdays and anniversaries, car insurance, back to school, and holidays, it can help us stay ready. When the expense comes up, there's no reason to stress about where the money is going to come from because you've been saving for it all along. And then there's savings for when you're presented with an opportunity. I call this an opportunity fund. Think of this fund as savings for unexpected but non-emergency things, like a sale on something that you've been eyeing for months, or purchasing more stock when the market is down, like during a recession. When you're already on a tight budget or you're not certain where to look, saving money can seem impossible. But here are some places, in addition to reducing your expenses, that you can find money to save. Make inventory of what you have before you buy something new. Shop around for sales and get new quotes on things like car insurance. Sell items around your house that you no longer need or use. Pick up a side hustle, and don't forget about those tax returns, pay increases or bonuses, and of course, monetary gifts from your family and friends. Additional money moves you can make to help you prepare for a recession are pay down your high interest rate debt, update your resume, find ways to increase your income, and where possible, continue investing and making your retirement contributions. There's no way to make your finances recession-proof, but there are things that you can do to make your finances more tolerant to uncertain financial times. And you can do this by reviewing and tracking expenses, making adjustments to your current budget, creating that bare bones budget, and look for ways to increase your savings.
And I'm jumping back in, guys, real quick to answer my 2 society questions of the week. Just a reminder, if you're not a society member, you can become one by hitting the join button. In addition to getting to ask me these questions that I answer at the end of every video, you also get access to our monthly members only video, the office hours with me every month, our TFD book club, and all kinds of exclusive goodies and perks. So hit that join button if you haven't already. And here are this week's 2 society questions. The first society member asks, do you have a top 5 best books of all time? Personal finance or money preferably, but anything that impacted you. So these are sort of mutually exclusive, not to shit on my own genre, but I don't think any of my favorite books of all time or even close would be, first of all, nonfiction. Let's start there. I like, if it's about books that like really changed me, like it's definitely going to be fiction. Some of my favorite money books of all time, I can't do my top 5 off the dome like that, but some of my favorite money/nonfiction books are Your Money or Your Life. I think that's a really, really good book. Rework by the Basecamp guys. Unfortunately, they've since sort of gone off the deep end, but Rework still really holds up. Kelly Cutrone's memoir is probably my favorite memoir. Batty as hell, but just like a ride from minute 1 to minute done. Rarely do you see a like nonfiction female protagonist just living out loud like that. So that was a really good memoir. I like reading historical nonfiction. I actually listen to them mostly because I just like listen to them while I'm like doing stuff. But I loved White Trash, was a really, really interesting nonfiction book. How to Be a Victorian is really cool. These are not my top of all time. If I was looking at my bookshelf, I would be able to do this more accurately. Oh, Bad Blood. What a ride that was. I mean, John Carreyrou, he freaked it. Let's be clear. Okay, fiction books. Favorite romance novel of all time, The Idea of You. Robin Lee. Talk about freaked it. I love The Phantom Tollbooth is my favorite book of all time, just in terms of like it impacted me so much as a little squirt. Still holds up. I used to think I was going to get a tattoo of talk. Glad I pivoted away from that. I don't think it would have gone with my overall vibe. Donna Tartt, The Secret History. That's a fabulous book. Oh, I mean, it's not a favorite of all time, but I really love The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I think, yeah, I really love all of Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I haven't read her newest one, but I really enjoy all of her books. What are my favorite books? I can't think of any. Oh, my 2 favorite books that I read this year, far and away. That's easier to answer. A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. Really, really beautiful prose. It's a retelling of Dracula and his first bride. And I'm usually not that much of a vampire girly, but it definitely has strong like Interview with a Vampire vibes. The prose is beautiful. ST's just really cool. Kennedy Ryan's Before I Let Go is really good. You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty is another book that I really loved this year. Yeah, I don't really have top books of all time though. I just read them and forget them. What I Loved by Siri Hustvedt is another really good one. The Only Story by Julian Barnes is a really good one. We got a lot of good books. Are there any particular people in the financial realm that you recommend following? Basically everyone that we've ever had on this show, with a few exceptions. Erin Lowry of Broke Millennial, Amanda Holden of Dumpster Doggy, Cindy Zuniga Sanchez of Zero Based Budget, Nika Booth of Debt Free Gonnabe, Yaneli Espinal, Sarah Wilson of Go Budget Girl, Farnoosh Tarabi is great. Yeah, those are some great girlies to get started on your journey, for sure. All right, those are my society questions for the week. See you next week. Bye.